Hey everybody, it is Saturday morning, a little bit overcast and cool for central Mississippi. What a better time to walk around and see what is growing. Well, that's some kind of Asian lady beetle with some red gladiolus popping up in the background, but what's really growing here is a trellis of let me see, what are they? Raspberries, but I can't, red dorman, there we are, raspberries. And you can see we're starting to get some popping up here. Now, red raspberries, the dormans, were specifically cultivated for growing here in Mississippi. They don't do great, let's just be honest. But raspberries are one of those fruits where, I don't know about you, but it seems like every time you buy it in a store, they go bad very, very, very quickly. It's not like buying apples. There's no real shelf life to them. So we really enjoy them, especially Mrs. J. So we are trying to cultivate this little vine a bit, nurture it a little bit, and get some red, fresh raspberries. From a prepper or survivalist or even a permaculture type of view, growing something that's not really for your zone, like those red raspberries, probably is a bad idea. But I personally believe that one or two plants grown just for pleasure because you really enjoy them, like this Granny Smith apple tree, is no harm whatsoever and adds a little bit more pleasure and a challenge to gardening. But one thing that does grow really well around here is anything that's a vine. And one thing that's a vine that makes good fruit are grapes and muscadines. This is our grape trellis. You can see from the ladder we were just up there. Well, truth is, Brandon was just up there clearing the vines off the edge of the roof, or off the edge of the house, excuse me. But you can see the grapevines are just going bonkers. And I'm pretty excited about it. First off, the whole point of this, or the main point, the reason it is where it is at, is to cast shade. That's the west side of the house. I'll leave a link here where you can go back and see the development of this whole thing if you've missed it in the past. But it casts shade on the west side of our house, and that's my bedroom back behind that ladder and behind those windows. And it keeps the house nice and cool in the evening. And there's no doubt in your mind you can walk through that tunnel in the afternoon and you can physically feel just how much cooler it is because of those grapevines. Now these are a combination of muscadines and table grapes. Again, I'll refer you back to the original videos, but if you take the time to look real nice and hard while I slowly move the camera around, you can see just all of the clusters that are growing. I just saw a solitary bee doing some pollinating, and interestingly, there's one bunch above the others that is well ahead of the game. And if I can get my lighting just right, there it is. That's a concord grape bunch, best we can tell, trying to follow the vines down, but it is well ahead of the game. And wouldn't that just be something? That'd be very picturesque if we could just get all sorts of bunches of grapes to hang down the arbor like that. But you know, really at the end of the day, when it comes time to harvest, we just break out the ladder and go for gold, because the vast majority of these are muscadines, and y'all have seen us do the muscadine jelly in the past, and it looks like we will have quite a jelly harvest this season as well. Down on the floor, the catmint never came up. So you can see we have this fence in place to keep the cat out of the herb garden. Blasted cat. We've also got a couple of the sage coming up. This is some basil, holy basil, that we planted after, that you haven't seen before. Came from a cutting from somebody that attended an herb course with us. There are a couple little parsley sprouts down there. You can see, of course, the garlic chives are alive and well. Several of the thyme that we rooted from back by the fish garden are doing really well. We've got another planting of holy basil here, and this is the cilantro going to seed. Look at that. I really didn't need much cilantro this spring, so when I saw it was going to seed, I just let it happen. And now, all of you are familiar with what this is, the comfrey. Now I have a confession. Most of this is not my comfrey. The only comfrey in here that I seed planted is that one. All the rest of this came from Strictly Medicinal, which is a great catalog and online website for ordering herbs and medicinal plants of various different kinds. So, but anyway, that was the easiest way for me to get back into comfrey. I was worried that I was going to have sterile seed because it was a couple years old, and so I got the plants, and then while the plants were on order, that guy came up. So there you are. You can see I've got garlic growing on the back side here. It's much easier just to shoot from here. I got a couple that look like they're going to be just massive, but we'll pull those up here shortly. They're starting to yellow. Down here there is a volunteer I want to show you, and I think we'll end the video with that. But first I want to show you this black locust tree. That is generally how the black locusts are all doing. You can see we trimmed off some of the little branches that were starting to develop down near the ground, try to start working on that tree form. But that's generally a good average on how they're doing for height and general growth. You can see we're starting to get some of the thorns here, but I'm really just not too worried about it. I know a lot of people expressed concerns, but I'll learn my lesson over time, perhaps. All right, and to cap off the video, how about a volunteer squash? This guy came up through weed barrier, through an inch of mulch, and is still growing. Now, I'm guessing this is some kind of yellow squash or zucchini just by the way that it is starting to grow, but I really have no clue. This would have been planted by the pigs. This area was in the pigs area at one point, and so we probably threw the pigs some scraps, and this is coming up almost a year later. So we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what develops from that. But volunteer plants, you just got to love them. Thanks so much for all of our patrons who make all of our videos possible, and thanks so much to all of you for taking the time to watch. What's growing down in your area? Here in Mississippi, we're hitting the 90s during the day now, and sometimes not getting out of the 70s already, so it looks like it's going to be a hot and humid one this year. Is it still cold where you are, or are you having volunteers sprout up as well? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.